us, here to discuss more on the Disney versus DeSantis. We want to bring in Lee Cockerell. He is a former executive vice president of operations for the Walt Disney World Resort. Lee, it's great to see you again. So neither side, like Ali said, backing down. DeSantis really finding out that taking on Disney is maybe much tougher than he initially anticipated. How do you see this all playing out for Disney?
Well, I think we're going to sit in court for a long time, but I'm still trying to figure out why he's doing it. There's never been a clear explanation other than Disney executives not agreeing with some legislation he was recommending. Somebody told me a long time ago, if you can't explain it, you don't understand it. And we still don't understand what the upside of this is for him. Why would he do this? He was a congressman for 5 years. He was the governor for 4 years before now, and this was never an issue. He never brought it up, never talked about it. None of the other governors of Florida have ever talked about it. And it looks just like he became angry over somebody pushing back on what he wanted to do. And certainly, Chapek's responsibility is to look after the company and the employees of the company and to speak up, like any company does when different states are trying to pass legislation, or even the federal government. It's common for companies to speak up and give their opinion and to push back, and that's kind of the American way. So I'm not quite sure why he decided to take this on. There seems to be no upside for the state. Actually, a lot of expense with the legal costs he's going to have to deal with this. So I don't know. I just think it's going to take a long time to play out, and unless we can get a better idea of what he thinks is the upside for the state. You know, he keeps saying that we're pushing back or Disney sticking their thumb in the eye of the voters. I've never heard. I ran Disney World for 10 years. I was with Disney 16 years. I've never heard anybody complain about this situation, about this arrangement. So I don't know what this means, sticking the thumb in the eyes of the voters of Florida.
Lee, I just want to ask you, you teach management and leadership classes. You just mentioned how long you were at Disney. Now we have Bob Iger back in that CEO position. How would you rate how he's handled this entire situation? Do you think suing DeSantis at this point, that was the right move from a management perspective?
Well, I think at the time it was. Our employees and cast members at Disney World were up in arms over this, and many of our guests. And we had no issue. I don't even think anybody understood the.
Lee, are you still there? All right, looks like
trans. I don't think they were. They were not doing that in the first place. So, not quite sure how this got to that situation.
So, Lee, moving forward, how do you think this impacts Disney from a short-term perspective and also over the longer term, especially how much awareness this is getting, how much national attention this is getting right now?
Well, everything I'm seeing, it's helping Disney. So I don't think, there have been many disagreements over the years. The public didn't like this or that, depending on what it was at the time. And we've had little boycotts and complaints. But I think you're not going to see any impact on the attendance of the parks. I don't think it's an issue. I don't think 99% of the people out in the world are even thinking about it or care about it.
Lee, what do you think, though, that this could potentially do for future investments? There's been lots of talk about backlash here, that Disney is going to take its investments and leave Florida and seek another state. Do you think that something like that is potentially on the table?
No, I do not. This is like a city. It's a mammoth place. No, Disney's going to be here, and they're going to be here for a long, long time, probably forever.
And given how this has played out, what sort of precedent do you think this sets for other consumer-facing brands and companies when it comes to taking a stand and voicing political opinions and exercising their free speech?
Well, I think it wasn't so much a political opinion as it was there was some legal legislation being passed that Disney did not agree with. And I'm sure there's going to be much legislation, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, that certain organizations do not agree with, and it's not good for their business. And I think this is not new to push back against the legislature. And I think it's normally the way the world works and the way America works is you give your opinion, and everybody has an opinion, and they're not restricted from giving it. And so this just seems to be, I hate to use the word retaliatory, but I can't figure out any other reason why he's doing this. We haven't heard a good, solid reason why this is a good idea for the state of Florida to be pushing. And by the way, there are over 1,800 special districts in Florida. This is just, we happen to be one of them, and they're done all the time in every state in the union.
And so, Lee, I know you're a teacher, so I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. From start to finish, how would you grade Disney and its management and its handling of this?
Well, I don't think there was any way to go. I think they were in the middle, and that's one of those things you can't do the right thing one way or the other. We had employees on one side, and we had the government on the other side, and Disney did the best they could, and this happens. I don't think Chapek could have handled it any differently. So, but there we are.
So what do you think, an A?
What's that?
Sounds like maybe a B.
An A, a B? Somewhere in between?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to play out, and it's like companies all over the country have problems with legislation. And they push back, and whether it's oil drilling or you name it, every subject in the world, there's somebody for it and against it, and companies have to protect their rights too. This is a public company. We have shareholders, and I don't think the state of Florida needs to be running it. And by the way, all the things, this opening a prison and putting tolls on the roads, that wouldn't have, that's absurd. And actually, I think those examples just show you how strange this whole thing is.
Certainly is strange, and it doesn't sound like, and it doesn't sound like this feud will be ending anytime soon. The back and forth here. Lee Cockerell, great to have you, former Executive Vice President of Operations for the Walt Disney World Resort. Akiko?
Well, shares of regional banks plunging